Dean Arnold.
Hey, welcome to the Dean Arnold podcast. It is June 30th, and today we shall be talking about continuing the Old Testament traditions. It's not what you think. It's very different than what you think, but it's really good. It's much, much better than the popular notion of carrying on the Old Testament tradition. All right. I'm running for Congress. Vote for me in November. Give to my campaign, DeanArnoldForCongress.com. I'm bringing sanity to an insane world. Share, subscribe, do all the things. Let me pull up my list here to make sure I say everything. Of course, I've already said that it is June 30th. And I said all my things, except I'm back in regular mode here. And so I can accept live chats and comments. And so if some of you have some comments or questions, fire away. And I'll see if I have the memory to go check them and try my hand at what I'm sure are very good questions. Smoking an Oliva knockoff, I believe. And it's working out just fine. Pretty happy with it. I may have to light it in a little bit. I also had a CLE I could have smoked, which is my favorite brand, but I just decided I'm going to wait on that. Okay, let's get into the scripture of the day for June 30th. There it is. Okay, love it. All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 4. Paul talks about how he's had a tough life. Verse 9. Been condemned to death. We've been made a spectacle to the world, both to angels and to men. We're fools for Christ's sake. He goes on to say we both hunger and thirst, and we're poorly clothed and beaten and homeless, and we labor, working with our own hands, being reviled, we bless, being persecuted, we endure, being defamed, we entreat, being made as the filth of the world, the scum of the earth, I think is one of the translations, the offscouring of all things until now. But you might have 1,000 instructors in Christ, but only one Father. He's the Father because he's gone through all those things. But I also just wanted to kind of read those things just to remind us we've read all these saint stories of people who followed Paul, who also labored and struggled and were ascetics and hardly ever ate and were tortured and died for Christ, etc. Amazing stuff. And here Paul's talking about it. There's one little thing I want to point out here on this passage. Where to go? Verse 12. And we labor, working with our own hands. So they're doing all this stuff, not just what your average preacher does today, which is prepare for a sermon on Sunday morning. He's doing a lot more than that, enduring a lot of pain and suffering and torture for the gospel, but he doesn't even get paid. He's doing it all for free. And the way he pays the bills is he works with his own hands. And we know from other places in scripture that he was a tent maker. So he made tents for a living. What a dude. It's just amazing. I mean, you're thinking you're in the marketplace and you go by this, booth, and there's this guy, he's over there selling tents, little Jewish guy. And you go and buy a tent from the guy. It's the Apostle Paul. How would you know? But you got to figure that he wasn't like a harsh negotiator. He must have just left it up to the Lord to make sure he got taken care of. I don't know. These are things we don't know. But the one thing I wanted to point out from this passage is that it's a fascinating little thing. Could probably do a whole podcast on it. But, Jesus, he is the temple, right? And he came to build the true temple, which is himself and us as the pillars of the temple worldwide. So he's like the chief architect, the chief builder. And what did he and his father do growing up? They built things. He was a carpenter. Imagine they built little houses and buildings and that sort of thing. And so Jesus knew a lot about the principles of building a building, and he used that in building the bigger, broader, metaphorical, whatever building of the true temple of the people of God. And then his main successor, main successor, not Peter, but Paul, his main successor, what does he do? Well, he kind of builds houses too. Actually, it's tents. So he builds tents. So he's a little lesser than Jesus. He's building tents, not buildings, but same concept. Kind of interesting. All right, let's move along. A couple of scriptures today in the Gospels. Mark 3, where Mark names all the 12 disciples. And I just want to go to verse 17. James, the son of Zebedee, and John, the brother of James, to whom Christ gave the name Boanerges, that is, sons of thunder. Well, bar means sun, and erges means energy. If you're out there, erges, one fly push-up. A lot of fly push-ups to get the thunder, but Boanerges, sons of thunder. I just want to bring that up because in my Revelation book project, I made quite the effort in the second volume, which is called Thunder, to run a theme throughout it where John starts out as your typical Jew who wants world conquest and wants Jesus to be the conquistador on a white horse who comes and defeats the Roman Empire and brings, freedom and life to the Jews. That's what everybody was thinking. And certainly James and John were thinking that way. And Jesus, kind of laughed, I guess, and gave them the name Sons of Thunder because, they were so full of something in vinegar. And but it took a long time, a long story arc for John to move away from that to become the great apostle John with the Gospel of John that emphasizes love and trust in the power of resurrection over being a conquistador. And so he graduates from being a son of thunder. But there's a thunder passage. I think it's Revelation 9. I can't remember, but anyway, if you get that Revelation commentary that I edited, particularly volume 2, you'll see what I'm talking about. James and John, sons of thunder. All right, let's go to the second gospel passage of the day, Matthew 12. Then the Pharisees went out and plotted against him, how they might destroy him. But when Jesus knew it, he withdrew from there. And he went and he kept healing people and casting out demons. And he starts casting out demons and delivering all these people. I mean, really incredible works. And what do the Pharisees do? After they decide they want to kill him because he won't be a conquistador. And he's also pointing out their lies and addiction to wealth and hypocrisy. But when he starts casting out demons and clearly being someone sent from God to deliver people from Satan, what do? They double down. And they say, if he's casting out demons from Beelzebub, then he's doing it by the power of Beelzebub, Lord of Flies. I mean, come on, guys. Just own up to the fact that you're wrong and you're on the wrong side. Don't double down like that. But they did. And they paid for it. They're paying for it now. It's not good. It's not good. The end, Jesus says, he who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters abroad. And there's another passage where he says, he who is not against me is with me. He kind of says the opposite. So you got to get the context of the passages and try to figure it out. But back to the same thing here, just the Jews, they really whiffed, man. I mean, the biggest whiff of all time, I'd say, biggest whiff in history. To have God himself, the very Son of God, in your midst with the healing and the love and the truth and all the things that would heal society and bring us into the kingdom of God. They reject all that. They try to kill him. They're trying to kill him and plotting to kill him for a long, long time before they finally do. But they doubled down and said, "Hey, we see that you're casting out demons and conquering evil, but we're just going to decide that that's because you're evil and you're working with the devil." Okay. Be careful not to do that. There are people, I think, who are able to cast out demons, and don't be quick to say that they're doing it by the power of Satan. Just don't be quick to do that. Look at the fruits. And don't reject Jesus Christ. And don't try to kill him. Just don't do it. Mama said don't do that. All right. Saint story of the day. Let me copy and paste. Probably the easiest way to do this. Saint Peter. Oh, I gotta bring it up. Oh, I'm sorry. I could have done that a lot more easily, but you got it now. Saint Peter, Prince of Ordinsk, Rostov. That's in Russia. And this guy's like 1200. St. Peter, Prince of the Horde, was the nephew of Burgay Khan of the Golden Horde. So this guy is the nephew of Burgay Khan, who was the grandson of Genghis Khan. Great, horrible empire leader, tyrant. And I think Kublai Khan is the last one. I'm not sure. But you know about Genghis Khan. Well, this is his grandson, Burgay Khan. And in the 1200s, St. Cyril, Bishop of Rostov, went to the Horde. The Golden Horde is the name of the Genghis Khan empire. He went to get needs for the church taken care of. This is kind of like, right now or historically in Constantinople, where they have to go to the Turks and ask for help for this, that, and the other. So he went to the Khan, Burgay Khan, asking for this, that, and the other. And he also told Burgay Khan about the Christian faith, the miracles and healings that were being worked. And while he was sitting there talking, there was a nephew of Burgay Khan who was really impressed with the bishop. Well, later on, Burgay Khan's son falls ill. He remembers the bishop's stories. He calls for him, and through his prayers, the sick son was healed. Well, as he was leaving, the lad, the nephew of Burgay Khan, overtook the holy hierarch, and he decided to become a Christian. He was baptized with the name Peter. And he married, distinguished himself with a love for silence, contemplation, and prayer. How often do we hear that in our society? Hey, this guy was really something. He was known for his silence and contemplation. Like never. Silence is like not a virtue in our society, but we need more of it. And boy, I'm tired of all this music. And I was on the golf course for 3 or 4 days, and there's these yahoos who play music on their cell phone or on their little speakers out in the golf course. I mean, and it's everywhere. When I was in Peru, you everywhere you looked, everybody's playing music. It's a cacophony of sounds. I don't think it seems like the Latins down there they just understand the idea of silence or respecting other people's audio territory. I digress. So he became a man of silence and contemplation. He had a miraculous appearance come to him from the apostles Peter and Paul. And so he built a monastery there. That's probably why he's on the calendar today, because yesterday we had the feast of Peter and Paul. After the death of his wife, Peter, the nephew of Kublai Burgay Khan, entered a monastery. And after that, he died. And a great celebration was established at the Council of 1547 for St. Peter. Anyway, St. Peter, Prince of Ordinsk, Rostov, is our saint of the day. All right, let's get out of that. All right, that was pretty interesting. All righty. Let's talk about continuing the Old Testament traditions, continuing the Ark of the Covenant. That's interesting. Well, let's start there. The Ark of the Covenant. What was inside the Ark of the Covenant? Do you remember? Most people can remember that the Ten Commandments were in there. Most people can remember, or some can remember, that there's a jar of manna, the bread, the special heavenly bread. People usually can't remember the third one, which is Aaron's budding rod. There was a contest where someone tried to say that he was the high priest, not Aaron. And so they had a contest, and they both held out their staff, and whichever one all of a sudden blossomed was the true high priest. And Aaron's rod, his staff, blossomed. So Aaron was the true high priest. So that was put into the Ark of the Covenant. So he had those three items in the Ark of the Covenant. Okay. How about in an Orthodox church service? Do we see the Ark of the Covenant there? Yes, in fact, we do. And so we've got to show you a picture and go from there. Come on, picture. Where did you go? That is not what I wanted. Okay. That's what I want right there. Let's try that again. Choking really bad, and I apologize. Okay. Let's do that. Let's share screen. Let's go here. Ah, nice. So, and unfortunately, that is not what I was trying to show you. I know I just have a window of time before people are going to just not put up with my pitifulness here. So what do I do? There we go. Nice. That is an altar in the Orthodox Church. And they're all very similar and very different in terms of aesthetics and that sort of thing. But Orthodox Church, you got an altar, in the back. Well, not in the back, but in the front. Little altar area. It's kind of like a Holy of Holies. So if we're going to continue the Old Testament traditions, this is the altar table, and the Holy of Holies is kind of the altar. And what does the altar table have on it? Well, actually, it has the same things that are in the Ark of the Covenant. I was real pleased with these cigars, but it's not lighting well. What you can see there fairly prominently is the gospel book on the table, which obviously correlates to the Ten Commandments. What you don't see yet, because this is the first half of the service with the gospel book, the second half is called the Liturgy of the Sacrifice, or the Liturgy of the Eucharist. The priests come out and they're holding the Eucharist in these jars, golden jars, kind of like in the Old Testament, and they come up and they remove the gospel book and they put the bread on the table there. So you got the Ten Commandments, you got the jar of manna, which is the Eucharist. And then what about Aaron's rod? Well, every altar table, has a cross. You can see kind of a small white one there. Behind it, a tall brass one. Often they're wood, so that would, a wooden cross. And so that would translate a little better for Aaron's rod. And then this particular cross, I think, has the 7 candlestick candelabra. So once more, kind of a continuing of the Jewish tradition. You got the altar itself, which corresponds to the Holy of Holies. You got the altar table, which corresponds to the ark. The services are laced beginning, middle, end with the Psalms, which is how the Jewish Old Testament services were done, and synagogue services today, I believe. Psalms constantly being chanted. Chanting is another continuation of the Old Testament tradition, and the chanting of the Psalms everywhere. And you got all these things that are very Jewish, might I say. The true fulfillment of the Old Testament Jewish traditions is the Orthodox Church. Yes, it is. And we have a fulfillment here. You got the gospel book, you've got the Eucharist, which is the jar of manna, and you've got the cross, which is Aaron's budding rod, blossoming rod. Now, over the years going to the Orthodox Church, I started noticing these things, and I noticed how you had the three things in the ark are represented in the Orthodox Church on the altar table, which is pretty darn cool. But for a time, I was like, we got a stick in there. We got a wooden cross, per se. But we don't have a blossoming. We don't have the flowers of the what was in the Ark of the Covenant. And since the very life of God there, you got to figure the blossoms just continually are nice and fresh and blossomy. By the way, Aaron's rod was a almond stick. So almonds were in the Ark of the Covenant. Worth thinking about there. Let's show you one more picture. Or can I do that? No. Okay. So I got to get rid of that. I got to be a nuisance again. But I got it. Okay, we're good. So one day I'm in church, and as is the Orthodox Church's wont, we had a feast. We have them about 2 or 3 times a year, where the cross is decorated with flowers. And here you see one example of it. You got a wooden cross. It's a little bit painted, but generally wooden. And you got all these flowers around it. And excuse me. And that is a very good representation of something that happens 2 or 3 times a year in the Orthodox services. So Aaron's blossoming rod is also happening in a seasonal way, as I imagine would Aaron's rod. If it's going to be legit, it was probably blossoming seasonally in the Ark of the Covenant. So all those things are being carried forward from the Old Testament into the New, into the Orthodox Church, which no longer is in the priest of Aaron, but is the priest of Melchizedek. That's a whole cool thing. Read the Psalms and read Hebrews if you want to get into all that. But we got a priesthood, we got an altar, we got all the things. And, it's really darn cool. And I think most people, if they'll let themselves, they can get excited about this, because I think it's one of the reasons why people are so drawn to Christian Zionism and Judaism in general is they don't have the richness of the Orthodox Christian tradition, and they're looking for something. They're grabbing, I got to find something somewhere that's got some roots, and so they get into Judaism. Well, Judaism is no longer, it's dead, but Christ is life. And we've got it here. We got the fulfillment of all that cool stuff in the Old Testament. Moses go build this tabernacle and put all this stuff in the holy place, and in the most holy place put this ark, and all these things go in the ark, and it's all pretty cool. Struggling. And so yeah, we are the true extension and that fulfillment. And so it's all this altar cult stuff. We talked about the cult thing. You got the cult of the altar, and it's a bloodless sacrifice. It's not a yucky kill animal sacrifice. It's a new kind of a thing, but it contains all the full orb stuff that we need as humans. And you get to do all the evangelical stuff, which is love your neighbor and go out and tell people about Jesus and study the Bible, and no laws against that. But with that, you get this wonderful, great structure. So that's all I wanted to share today. Seems like I had a couple things I wanted to mention from yesterday. Oh, I want to shout out to a few people who've made some contributions to my campaign, not financial, although I will mention Robert McDonald, who gave me $1,000 check, and someone needs to match that. Where's my $1,000 donor? I want to shout out to Clark Thompson, who made my logo. Perrin Lance, who, well, I'm not supposed to shout him out, but he hadn't done anything for me. I got a buddy at church named Slade. Appreciate his help. And then there's several of you that are liking and sharing big time and making comments and really helping this thing move along. And I appreciate every single one of you. And so that's been good. Last thing before I sign off today is, have we actually gone? Is that 29 or 25? 25, I guess. Okay. I forgot to mention yesterday, I told the story of Mary Draper, who got captured by Indians in 1755 near southwestern Virginia, where my people lived. Got taken up to Ohio, 500 miles. Then she escaped and came back. Took her 5 months in the winter. Nearly died. The woman that was with her tried to kill her and eat her. Anyway, she survived, came back, and her husband and her reunited. Had a couple more kids. A year or two later, it happened again. I forgot to share that yesterday. Indians came, burned down the house, killed a couple people. They escaped, and I guess they did it again. But these people, our frontiersmen, forefathers, foremothers, are amazing people with amazing mettle that I don't think we could ever be grateful enough or thankful enough or impressed enough with what they did. So I did forget to mention that. I'm running for Congress. I'm bringing sanity to an insane world. I'd like you to share and subscribe. I'd like you to give at DeanArnoldForCongress.com. Let's check the comments. I got a little red dot there, which tells me I might have one. Okay, what's this say? For quick results, that's some kind of bot. Here's YouTube. Lets you pick usernames for your followers and chatter accounts. That looks like another bot. Get out of here. Hello from Ethiopia. What's up, man? Appreciate you saying hi. Yep, I did Ethiopia. Was it yesterday or the day before? It was the day before, 2 days ago. But yeah, I'll be doing some more Ethiopia, and love you Ethiopians, and what a great country. And lastly, best place for custom kick viewers and chatters. So we got some more bots. I got quite a relationship with bots right now. And that probably be a running theme for red-blooded men down the road. Anyway, so I took care of that. And so now we're going to sign out because we've done all the things. And today is June 30th. And
Dean Arnold.